Alright, so let's do Roadwar Europa today, which was kind of interesting also to try again after a long while. Had played it back in the day and now realized that it's pretty much a direct outline for the much later indie title Convoy. It does pretty much all the same things, so you have a road gang that is trying to accomplish a mission a bit different in this case, that you are trying to defuse nuclear bombs that the terrorists have hidden in already post-apocalyptic European cities, which seems like a somewhat poor starting point. And when I tested the game, actually one of the bombs exploded pretty much the second turn I took, so apparently the game somewhat depends on the luck with your starting position. But I chose the Amiga version because the PC version is more or less, as one firm described, it looks like a Spectrum game, so the Amiga version actually has graphics that look more like a map. The PC version actually supports VGA, but it's not very helpful when your VGA support mostly means that you are getting more colors. It's not any better, it's actually as bad, but you are getting different colors, like 32 sets of colors in 2 varieties, so you get 64 colors in use, but it only gives 3 colors for the same horrible looking map. So in that sense it made more sense to set up the Amiga version. And here we go, it even has a nice starting screen and some music, pretty much the only music in the game. And Monuments of Europe appear still pretty intact, but the Big Ben is quite small, so 1987, and the PC version more looks like 1981, so we chose the Amiga version. And of course also, considering the fancy futuristic theme, also chose fancy futuristic silver base suit in this case for style. And we have the option of continuing a saved game. We do not yet have one because this is the first playthrough. We could transfer a gang from Roadwar 2000, which is the predecessor. Instead of being based in Europe, it's pretty much the same game, but in this case it's based in the USA. Otherwise this has improved a little also mechanics wise, but main change here is that the map has moved to be the map of Europe. So we shall start entirely new game, and I have actually prepared and read the manual, so which is important in this game in the respect that you actually, for example, immediately are not instructed much, but rather dropped directly into the vehicle selection screen. The manual recommends at first doing a starting gang which uses 2 buses with sufficient amounts of people in them, so that sounds like a pretty good idea. We also could be adventurous and use like motorcycles or motorcycles with sidecars, various smaller cars. There are also even tractors, construction vehicles. In this respect, this is a lot like the 1980s board/light role-playing game Car Wars, which had very complicated vehicular combat mechanics. But let's go for a bus. And now we choose like how heavy we want, and the mass varies between 14 to 25, and then we have about every statistic you can imagine for a motor vehicle, including maneuvering, braking, and things like level of protection, fuel consumption, crew positions. The bus holds a lot of people, both on internally and on top, which is important for vehicle boarding and capturing, that you first fight the top crew with the top crew and only then are able to attack the internal crew as the combat continues. Then we have like missile rating and boarding rating, so it's rather detailed in that respect. Let's choose a nice slightly increased mass at like 20. And then we also can tune pretty much everything else. So let's improve the structure a little, and we are always limited by points in this respect, how many points we are able to use for the two vehicles. So let's not spend much more time tuning these, but B to proceed, and next vehicle. And let's take another bus and again improve the mass a little, and then also improve the structure. And then again proceed, and now we are finished with. We could still create more vehicles, but let's go with these two and try to capture additional ones along the way. So we are finished. Then now we want to get people to start our gang out with. So we have like fancier fighters and then much worse. In general, it's better to take the stronger ones. So these are 5 points, so let's take 20, and then we have still 106 points left, so let's take also 20, and then we have 26 points left, so let's spend 10 here and 6 in the most basic category. Alright, and now we are ready to proceed, having spent all points on the crew. Then we need to choose supplies, like things you usually like if you are traveling on a road in post-apocalyptic environment, like food always comes handy. Tires also comes very handy, because most probably there are not that many tire shops to suddenly visit should you have a flat. Fuel, especially handy, as usually imaginable in this kind of things. There might not be that many fuel stations left. Guns certainly sounds necessary. They come automatically with ammunition. You do not need to choose that separately. Medicine sounds very useful. So let's start with food, and we have 4,000 points, so we should most probably take sufficient amount of food. Let's take 150 tires, that should last well with the buses. Fuel preferably more than less. Guns, we should have enough, and let's use the rest of the points for medicine. And now we have used all the supply points, and we haven't still gotten all the way through the gang construction even, so proceed. Now we get to name our gang, so let's name it unsurprisingly for this kind of critter, even if Skunk. Let's name it after Isolectra proper. There we go, and we apparently start from the random city of Belfast, which is kind of, there fortunately exists a ferry, otherwise it would be like you couldn't get to the mainland at all, at least from the manual. I saw that there should be a ferry available on the map. So first of all, it's very useful. Here we can see the main options. We do not yet have the radio direction finder. It can be used to find the nuclear bombs once you are provided with one. Then we can transfer people. We can have overview, heal, fix flats, check the status. So let's check the world status. We see that the nuclear device status is Zaragoza has exploded. The manual says that there's one exploded in the beginning, so that we know that the terrorists are in this for real. Then we have none disarmed. We can find them if we scout cities. They are automatically disarmed, so our gang is assumed to have the capability to disarm the nuclear devices. And then we have 5 bombs remaining that are currently ticking down and will explode as time passes, and we should prevent them from exploding to improve the situation of Europe. Then we have various search options. We can scout the city, which checks if the city has a nuclear device in it, or otherwise who controls it, which can be terrorists or some kind of other faction. We can try to search for loot, people or vehicles, and these encounters can of course lead to combat. So let's scout the city and see what happens. So now we need to choose how many of our guys go in, and some of them might not return from the city because it's of course dangerous out there after the apocalypse. So let's go with 15, 15, 10 and 6. Alright, we lost a few guys. This is controlled by bureaucrats. Alright, doesn't sound a surprise for Ireland maybe, but there was no nuclear device there. That's good for us to know. Now we can move along, so let's move to the Dublin, and again we shall check how is it going in Dublin. Do we have, let's go again with 15. Alright, Dublin clearly was not as easy. Local police clearly didn't like us there. No nuclear device either, so now we know that this part of the map is safe. Somewhat illogically we can drive from Ireland to Glasgow, which was fortunately very, very easy in this case. So we arrive in Glasgow. Let's try to find people first. No luck. Alright. Group of people on foot is eyeing you from a distance. Will you? Now we can wait, send envoys, leave, or fire a volley, which of course is the most aggressive option to start out with. Indeed. Hello there, Luna. We are playing Amiga version, because the PC version looks like it is from 1981. So this is much improved, because the Amiga port was actually done by Westwood, which would later reach fame also for other games, as we well know. So let's wait and see what they also wait. So let's send envoys. Alright, it was the local home guard, and some of them want to join our gang. Yes, please. Indeed, it was unfortunate, considering what happened to Westwood. Alright, we had people join our gang, so let's keep searching the fine city of Glasgow for the nuclear device, and let's go with more of the slightly worse fighters, so we save the better ones. We see the really worse ones are then worn down more if we do not send arms masters in, but this saves the lower cost ones. Alright, controlled by bureaucrats and no nuclear device. Edinburgh, and let's again search for people. Alright, that didn't go totally best possible way. Let's see if we can get people to join us. Nope, so let's scout the city with very small gang. No nuclear device at least. So let's keep searching for people. It would be good to have more to join, as the earlier fights caused considerable losses. Let's keep going. New castle, and let's again search for people. Let's send envoys this time and see how that goes. Great. Now we have at least a few people more, so let's scout the city. In this case going all in, because we do not have that many guys. Now we actually disarmed one of the nuclear devices, which is the goal of the game, so we are actually some way further towards success. This is what is practically the goal of the game, to disarm all the nuclear devices hidden in the cities before they explode. So we actually have reached part of success condition in this game. So it might be, I do not yet know if this allows saving without quitting, which would be kind of, for this old game, not much of a surprise. So let's see if we can get more to join us. Good. So let's see if this allows saving. Alright, so let's search for vehicles. We could have more. Alright, we found a station wagon. Now we have additional, in addition to the 2 buses, we now also have station wagon, and we can also overview here resources. We can cache them around the map. So let's continue on to Leeds and scout the city. No nuclear device there. Sheffield, and let's try to search for loot first. No, we are not dropping anything else. So we have additional fuel now, and let's scout the city of Sheffield. Alright. Alright, those we are not at least attacking, the terrorist elite. You are now entering an area of steel manufacturing. That would be at least before Margaret Thatcher disagreed with the condition of the British steel, would imagine. So we got some improvements vehicle wise, so let's scout the fine city of Birmingham. We have actually now disarmed 2 of the nuclear devices. 2 of them were actually hidden in the UK, so. And now we can see in the Empire menu that we have already disarmed 2 and there are 3 bombs remaining, so this is already a pretty successful game, and we haven't actually done any tactical vehicular combat yet, so surprisingly good result this far. Bristol, let's directly scout the city of Bristol. Alright, Bristol was clear. Let's see about Cardiff. It's also lack of fighting causes the issue that troops are promoted only through fighting. And actually this has clearly PR&G has been on our side, because also 3rd nuclear device was hidden in the UK, so we have already reached more than half the winning condition. We have only 2 nuclear devices remaining, but they could be still anywhere in Europe, so let's go for the big city itself, London. Alright, we can go and see the Tower of London. Let's check it out. Alright, clearly the crown jewels were available. Alright, and our gang killed some of themselves fighting for the crown jewels. I would say that that was not maybe the result I hoped for, but doesn't seem too surprising. That in turn would be nice. Our vehicles were improved a bit by the automotive manufacturing plant. Unfortunately, I don't think we have too many in terms of manpower, because they fought over the crown jewels. So I think we should try to find some people to join our fine gang again. Alright, let's wait. Alright, let's send envoy. Let's see. Alright, good. It was not fight proper, but we got some more men. Again, we have pretty alright manpower. Now, as I said, we can fortunately get onto the continent. It looked like a ferry on the manual map, but actually it's like you can just drive, just like we drove from Ireland onto the main body of the British Isles proper. Somehow we can also just drive with nice green land into the continent proper. So now we arrived in France. So let's again scout. Scout the city and see. No nuclear device here. That's good. We can search for loot. Medicine is not common. It's very important to have some for if you get sickness, for example, from mutants, zombies, whatever. We haven't actually encountered any yet, which is also good. Let's scout Antwerp. There we won't be fighting, at least over the city with the terrorist elite around. Intended to go to Den Haag first. Actually, there is, if you want to, you can try to take over the city, what I've understood from the manual, and if there is the regular or elite terrorist presence there, it will be a much harder fight. You get more supplies and such from the city. If you take it over yourself, your gang can fight for the control of the city, and it's much harder for the better terrorists. And the local police or bureaucrats or such in turn are much more favorable towards getting supplies in that city. That's what I understood from the manual. So let's scout the fine city of Den Haag. No nuclear device there, so let's go onwards to Rotterdam. No nuclear device there, so let's go north to Amsterdam and again scout the city. So now we can actually, because it's controlled by neutrals, we can take it over directly. A few apparently liked it better, so this should, I believe, now we control Amsterdam ourselves, and we have found three of the 5 nuclear devices. I believe it should be easier to get supplies here now, at least understood from the manual. Alright, these two hoodlums do not seem like very effective gang members, but certainly not complaining. So let's move to Utrecht and again scout. We are looking for the final 2 nuclear devices, and surprisingly none have exploded yet. I think there apparently is some kind of random aspect to that, because when I tested this out, I moved like two spaces on the map and one bomb exploded, so there clearly is some random element to that. Alright, now we have to fight another road gang, so let's do the tactical combat so we actually see how it functions and how it is pretty much exactly like the combat that would later become known in Convoy. It's just a less dynamic version of it, so let's do the tactical combat. We do auto deploy, and then we could have, if we had like cronies, doctor, drill sergeant, politician, we could also make use of those. The politician especially looks very convincing, but we could make use of the cronies for like improve troop performance, heal, or the politician is apparently useful for like what politicians are apparently usually also useful for, so they talk to people and they hopefully then come over to your cause. So we are ready to go for the proper combat and use standard map. So we see apparently enemy vehicle there, so let's we are already deployed, so enemy deploys. So we move on the road. Now also the enemies move. And as we also need to try and not hit obstacles, so let's change lanes. And now we can fire, but we do not yet really have line of sight towards the enemies, so we can try to fire at the Black October gang trailer truck, and then we can choose whether we want to try to hit at their wheels and possibly destroy the tires, or if we want to try and hit the interior or top crew. So let's try to hit the interior. Then we can also fire at, I believe, only a different target with the second volley, so we do not have any other targets left, so we do not fire anymore. Then I think we can also fire at the flatbed truck of the opposing gang. Let's again fire at the interior. We killed exactly one troop. And then we do not. Then we can also fire at the bus of the opponent. So let's fire at the interior. Let's see if we have any other targets. No, so we are done firing. Then the opponent fires. And then we have the phase we could transfer crew if we were adjacent to our own vehicle or enemy vehicle. We could transfer crew and try to capture enemy vehicle also this way. Currently we do not have the opportunity, so let's keep changing lanes still. And here we can move forward. Here we would probably like to change lane. Let's keep moving onto the lowermost lane. Here we in turn go straight. Let's see. We can fire again. Do we have any other targets? Yes. Let's fire at the interior. No effect. I think we are done firing for. We could still fire at one target. Alright. Then we could again try for capture. Let's see. friendly. There were no adjacent vehicles, and now here we should keep on this lane, so we turn left and then keep moving. Here we move one space. And now on our right side I think we have a good target, so let's fire at the interior. And again shoot to the front. We do not seem to have... we can fire further up there. Now we could actually try to if I have understood correctly, we could try to capture the vehicle, but I'm not totally sure how to go for that. Yes, now that we quit, we can actually transfer men to enemy vehicle, so let's try that. So let's send. So let's see. On board fighting, so we actually won, and we can now take this vehicle. So now we have the probably now not non-hostile our own vehicle in front, so we should probably brake here. And turn left here to clear the lane. And move here also, trying to not hit other traffic. A lot like in Convoy, where you can't either hit solid objects. Now the issue is mostly that we should try probably firing left, because we mostly have the flatbed truck and I think one sports car left up here, so let's keep on firing at the interior. Now we do not want to transfer any crew. And here we move to the upmost lane. And now we have space to move one lane up also here, so we do not collide with anything. And here we now in turn right and turn right, so we are going straight again. And here we also take a right turn. now we should have target behind us. So let's fire the interior. And let's see if we keep firing. At least they had quite a few more guns in one of the vehicles, I believe. Let's keep on moving and also turn right here. Alright, here we are getting blocked, so let's brake and turn left to move out of the way and keep on going here. Alright, we lost, apparently getting all tires fired so that we crashed, and one vehicle was captured and one apparently ran out of crew, so we didn't have quite sufficient amount of people to actually succeed. But that was the detailed tactical vehicular combat, and as it can be seen immediately, it resembles Convoy a lot in terms how the combat works, but it's a bit more detailed in some respects, like the vehicle capture proper, and in turn it's somewhat more simple in terms of weaponry. You do not have like 10 different weapons or more, like in Convoy you only really have guns and guns that the crew proper are shooting with, rather than guns attached to the vehicles. I think you can have missiles in some of the vehicles if you can find the missile launcher. But yes, that game was actually pretty successful in terms of the win condition, but we didn't succeed at winning any vehicle combat partially due to not having the buses by far with sufficient crew. So it's one observation is that we should have kept even more crew along to be able to have enough on board. And also we successfully captured a vehicle, which also showed the functionality that if you are adjacent you are able to move additional crew and fight for control of vehicles. So also in that respect, interesting game certainly, and as said, kind of like low spec Mad Max in terms of thematics. So thank you for watching.